What's up, all eyes DB campers? Well, it's been a while since I've talked about slot defense and playing catch technique in the slot. I found this video on YouTube, and it is basically a slot wide receiver having his way with slot defenders at practice. I believe the kid plays for Southern Miss, or played for Southern Miss. Video looks a little bit older, but anyway, just wanted to talk about what is happening to the slot defenders in these clips, and then it allows me the opportunity to again to talk about why catch technique is a solid technique for you to use when you're playing in the slot. So I'm going to just run through some of these. As you look at this right here, whenever you get a hop, like first of all, you can't hop. You can't have happy feet. He's attempting to play catch, this slot defender. He's attempting to hold his ground, but you cannot panic off of hard moves. And I would have to think the way that he reacted here, his eyes are most likely high because he overreacted to the shoulder move right here. That hard shoulder move, as you could see, sent him hopping to the outside, and that's gold. And this slot defender, I don't know who he is obviously very good. He doesn't predetermine where he's going. He'll get his releases based off of how you move, and those are the toughest guys to defend. However, they can be defended. You cannot hop outside. You cannot hop in any direction. All right, what I teach my guys are, pretend you're going to hold your line, but pretend you're on a high wire 15 stories up above a busy New York City street. How would you move on that line? Would you hop? Would you allow both feet to leave that line at the same time? Or would you move 1 foot at a time? You would move 1 foot at a time, unless you planned on falling down and splattering all over the street. So this is how you move when you're playing catch technique in the slot. 1 foot at a time. And if the wide receiver wants to go hard out here, so let's say this wide receiver went hard here, you don't need to overreact and try to slide all the way back out here. Yes, I know that the coverage probably calls for you to have outside leverage, but if a guy wants to go this hard, you take your steps like you're on a high wire, and if he continues out here, you know what? Okay, you got an outside release. We're not going to panic about that. I'm just going to force you in this direction. Just going to force you in that direction, make it a harder throw, and depending on what happens down the field, I may look through you for the ball or squeeze you and look back inside for the ball. Yes, my safety's in here, and it's going to be hard for him to get over in this direction. But that doesn't mean I overplay the leverage and give a guy a free release on the inside to do whatever he wants. Stop hopping at the line. So that's what happened on this particular case, hopping at the line. Let's take a look at the next one. This is another guy attempting to play catch technique, just sliding too hard, overreacting to those moves. And as you can see, that's exactly what this wide receiver wants you to do. He wants you to overreact to the moves, and he's just going to take the easiest release. He's been well schooled on taking the easiest release. So he wants to go outside. You slid too hard outside. He goes inside and then goes back outside. All right? If you've got outside leverage, if this is what you're supposed to have, if he beats you inside, maintain that outside leverage. You're going to stay on this. Don't overplay it to try to get here. All right? You've got to turn your hips, got to match his hips. So if his hips are square facing upfield, you got to get your hips square facing upfield and stay on this outside shoulder. He breaks in here and they sneak a ball in. You know what, man? They got you. They got you. But you can't go. This is the position you can't be in. See how his shoulders and his hips are squared like this? But this guy's hips are facing in this direction. When this happens, you're dead on anything back outside. You're dead. You're dead on everything back outside, which is exactly what happened here. Maintain the leverage. Even after you're beat, maintain the leverage. All right, this one's tougher. This is a bit of a catch technique, but he's given ground here, so this guy's just going to get his speed up and have his way with you. Don't really care for this kind of soft catch. There's such a thing called scooch, which I like but I like it less than catch. This right here, again, is an overplaying of the outside technique. All right, hold your ground. So in other words, you should be playing right here across this line. Shouldn't be back here. The image I try to give my guys when I'm coaching them is you're a sliding glass door. Sliding glass door moves side to side. It doesn't go back. Once you start going back, you give this guy speed and room to work with, and he's just, as you're going to see here, eat it all up. All right? Best thing this guy did was stand on his outside shoulder, but again, that didn't work. Again, an overslide to the outside. Listen, you're already aligned outside, right? We can all see this. He's aligned outside of this guy. No need to hop outside. The hop killed him. And then again, if you're supposed to have outside leverage, even when you're beat inside, get your shoulders and your hips squared. See his hips squared? He's ready to run up the field. Your hips can't be pointing in this direction. Okay? Get vertical. Get your hips pointing in this direction and stay on this outside shoulder. I hope you guys understand what I mean on that. Slow-mowing this down. Well, he did end up here. He just still wanted to overplay in here when he should have had outside leverage. All right? When you have that outside leverage, you're going to be a little bit more stern on the outside moves by a wide receiver, and you're going to be a little bit delayed on these moves to the inside. All right? And let's also understand this. These are one-on-one, so it's just you and this guy. But let's say this guy was your actual safety. I know he's just standing here watching. I think you'd be good on an inside breaking route. Right? You may have some help there. This guy just failed to move his feet. You can't allow him to just out-leverage you like this. All right? As this guy started getting here, and he's clearly a full man outside, he should have been sliding in this direction a little more. Okay? At the point of contact, at worst, you want to be half a man on this guy. So see this line that I drew? This is where this guy's body should have been. All the way over here. He allowed him too much space to the outside. This guy is highly trained. This slot wide receiver is highly trained in getting the best release possible. Yep. So apparently, just by alignment here, this defender needs to have inside leverage. That's what the coverage calls for. Okay? Apparently he has no help in here at all, so he's playing inside leverage. You've got to hold that leverage. You've got to hold it, even after beat. Okay, he's beat right here. He's beat. Get yourself to this shoulder. Get your hips pointing up this way and stay on that guy's inside shoulder. If he hits you with an out route, hey, he beat you and he beat your defensive coordinator because, you know, that's where you didn't have the help. But hold your leverage. Sometimes guys will catch a ball. If he held his inside leverage, this doesn't happen. Okay? Hold your leverage. But running it all the way back to this point, he's too far away right here. Slide your feet, sliding glass door, try to close the door. Just think of it as a dog you don't want out in the backyard escaping into the neighborhood, trying to run his way through here. This might be a little bit of a cruel example, but you're trying to get that sliding glass door closed before he can get out through that door. All right, so let's say this was the wall right here, just trying to give you an image. Let's say this is the wall right here, and you're the door, and dog's trying to get through this space out into the neighborhood to either get lost or go bite 100 people. Right? So let's just put our wall up here. You're the sliding glass door. You wouldn't slide back here, right? Dog will hit that, and knock the door down, and he's out, right? So what you've got to do is slide yourself across in this direction and get the door closed. So when that wide receiver runs, he's running into the door and he can't get outside here to go cause some harm in the neighborhood. That's what should be happening. So you've got to slide your feet. He's letting him get too far away. All right? Alexa, stop. Pardon that interruption, fellas. Alexa going crazy. But anyway. He lost right there and then didn't hold inside leverage. All right, we got the hop here early with the feet, watching the DB, hopping, and is that a sliding glass door? Is that a sliding glass door? Those are French doors, and they're not made to stop anything. French doors just open like this. All right, and when you're inside of a slot defender and you just open him up to the world like this, he can do anything at this point. He's got you opened up. He can go out here really easy. When you open up like this, you're going to panic about this route and you're going to be wanting to go there, and he can just come back in here. And so he's just going to have his way with this guy. Let's take a look. Yep, gave him the outside fake. Again, if you have inside leverage, all right, let's get past the fact that he just opened the gate really too soon. All right, that he should have been a sliding glass door trying to keep the dog from getting out into the neighborhood. All right, you opened up. If this is what you have, inside leverage right here, and I know this is tough for guys to understand. You just don't want to get beat. But if you're supposed to have inside leverage, hold that inside leverage even after you're beat. Find a way to sit your weight down. Get your hips facing in the same direction that his are. So if his hips are facing this way, you get your hips that way. You sit your weight down and you stay inside of that guy. If he happens to break out, you go chase it and you're trying to play his hands. You can't get goosed with a head fake. All right. First of all, as you turn, your eye should be on his hips. You can't get goosed with a shoulder and head fake and allow the guy to come back in here when you're supposed to have inside leverage. All right. I think this is what happens. Now you're dead. Easy peasy. Okay. This was not a bad job of trying to stay square. It's not exactly a sliding glass door. Maybe it's a sliding glass door that's got a broken slider. But as you can see, he got hands on him, which is more than any of the other guys were able to do. Do we see the effects and the advantages of staying square? All right. So for all this jittery this guy is, he's able to get his hands on him. All right, I'm not sure what the leverage is here. Maybe it's outside. If it is, let's see if he did a good job even after the guy exited. Yeah, I mean, he did. This is not a bad rep. It's not a bad rep. It's not the greatest rep, but at least we caused some delays here. And if you're the quarterback looking at this in the red zone where you're possibly getting some kind of pressure, it might be a little difficult for you to say, I'm going to just make this clean throw. You have to completely trust this slot guy to make this throw. So staying square, holding that line is where it's at. This is proof of that. All right, he kind of opened his shoulders a little bit, so it allowed for an easier release, but this caused a little bit of a delay. And if you've got help on the inside, you might get it here. Quarterback has to hitch his throw. He has to bounce in the pocket a little bit. And if you've got inside help anywhere in this area, let's look at it. Let's see, does he get to the... Yeah, you might be able to get a ball tipped or even intercepted, all right? This right here is the ultimate in what you can't do. I'm going to slow this one down. You start hopping around. His eyes are high. I can just tell from how his body reacted that his eyes are high. Once you start hopping around and you start wanting to do this dance with him, you start dancing with his shoulders, you're a dead man. All right, and then now what is your leverage? It appears from the beginning the leverage is inside. All right, you're beat. You're beat at this point. His hips are pointing up the field. You turn around, you get vertical, you get up the field, you hold your inside leverage. If he breaks out, he goes to the corner. He got you. Try and get him out of bounds. But what you can't do is let him come in here, because you know what? If there's no help in there and he catches a ball in this area, he's gone. It's probably going to be a touchdown. So let's play this one out and see what happens. See him moving back to the outside. Kind of worked out for him, but he still got beat. All right, so if he was playing inside leverage when he actually had outside leverage, then this is a decent job. But if you're playing inside leverage, but you've got no help inside, this is never a good idea, because if this guy goes in here, you're dead meat. Dead meat. All right, so I think you guys get the idea here. Hold your ground in that slot. I know it's terrifying, but if you practice it enough and you keep your eyes down and you work your feet like I told you, like you're on a high wire, you will be in position more often. You will get better jams. You will disrupt the route more. You will move guys off their line, and you will see a lot more success defending guys in the slot. For you safeties that have to come down and you're not able to get down to about 5 or 6 yards and you end up at about 8 or 9 yards playing a guy, my recommendation to you is just play good old off man. All right, slow pedal a little bit, use your weave according to a guy's release and his stem, and you just try to stay over the top of the routes and then make your breaks. I'll make a video on that at some point down the road. I think I may even have one here already in this members area, but it might be time to make another one and talk about that. All right, but you guys that are playing low down in the slot, guys, really start working the catch technique. I have several videos on that in this members area. Get out, take a look at them, because if you're playing it soft like these guys are doing it, a decent slot guy is just going to have a great day on you, and it's going to be hard to stop him from piling up yards numbers and catching balls and getting yards after the catch. Being soft in the slot when you've got help around you is just not the way to go. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed this. If you have any questions, as always, I'm available via email. Send me your email with your questions and comments. cwilson@alleyesdbcamp.com. cwilson@alleyesdbcamp.com. Thanks for listening. All Eyes DB Camp. Consistency breeds results.